right, so Dennis, tell me a little bit about the inspiration for the African Community Resource Center.
Well, the inspiration came from the love that I got as a kid from Africa. My parents actually left me and my brother in Africa with our grandma, and grandma's house, it was kind of like a big house with a lot of different families that lived there, so it was, you have, like in one house, you would have at least maybe 50 people, and they will all be different backgrounds, different families, but everybody was so like welcoming, and they fed off each other, So I never really had like a day where I was like, oh, my mom is not here or my dad is not here. So that love right there was what inspired me to actually start this organization, because I saw that love that I had back home was not here. We don't get that love here in America.
Okay.
And I felt like, it was missing because of how everything is going. Everybody's so caught up in the American dream. Everybody wants to, make something of themselves. Everybody have, work and so much going for them. And it's almost impossible to actually, have that bond that you want to have, and everything that, comes with being an African. So welcoming and so together and so cultural oriented. But here in America, I didn't, growing up, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. So that's where my inspiration came from.
Okay. And your mission statement for the organization very much reflects that vision of community and the idea of people all being one. So tell me a little bit about the mission for the African Community Resource Center.
Well, absolutely. I just wanted to create a platform for socio-economic development, because I personally, growing up, I felt as if something was missing. I grew up knowing certain people, doing certain jobs, and after moving away for 5 years, they're still kind of doing the same thing, and I didn't see, that, I want to say that creative or the whatever reason why they came to America, I wasn't seeing it, whether it was better lives or better opportunities, but it was as if something was, stopping them. I don't know what it was, but it was more like, so what if we can have a place that will create that platform for people to actually attain a true American dream? What is the American dream? To me, the American dream has become so elusive, it's almost impossible to even, enjoy what the American dream is if you have it.
Right.
So that's where the mission, really came from, creating that platform so that African people can have resources to, and basically like a pathway to the American dream. And also for the younger generation, to be able to have a place that you can call your home away from home. A place that you can have all the kids from the community come and share and build on each other and share, have a vision. Really I want to inspire, more than anything else, I want to inspire the African kids to, to dream and, have a vision and, everything that comes with being an American or being an African, if I should say. Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about creativity, and a good portion of your mission statement is focused around youth. Yes, it's focused on the older generation and, parents and immigrants, older immigrants and things like that, but it's focused on youth primarily, and African youth. So how does a community center where African youth can gather and flourish and sort of expand their entrepreneurship goals, how does that appeal to African youth today, and do you think it's necessary?
Absolutely. I don't want to say just African youth. I want to say youth in general.
Okay.
The center really is not mainly for Africans. The name really came from that experience that I had growing up and the understanding of what Africa means. The welcoming, the beauty of a culture, raising a kid together. The whole nine. So that's what the name means. But the center itself is for the community in general. The Hispanic community, the Haitians, the Asians, welcoming really to everybody else. I mean, if you go to, every part of the world, you see Africans influence. There's Africans in every corner of the world. America is just that one place. So what we want to do is a place that can build future leaders, really. Future strong African leaders, future strong Hispanic leaders. But by going through that center, that one place that can provide that platform for them to do that.
That's really beautiful. The idea of what does Africa mean, just like you were talking about the American dream and how it's so elusive, because the African diaspora is set out in so many different places. The ACRC gives young Africans the opportunity to define what Africa means to them, and I think that's beautiful. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of entrepreneurship? You being an entrepreneur, yourself, can you talk a little bit about how necessary that is within the African community today?
Absolutely. I think the idea of entrepreneurship will go a long way in African society. And even in Africa, in that continent, we see a continent that is being, so close-minded when it comes to entrepreneurship, but it's not so much close-minded, but if the African youth can, be inspired by an idea and then have the ability to actually bring it out to inspire somebody else, it can go a long way changing what is going on in Africa now. It can change what America is going through now. That's the beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur, having an idea and be able to, kind of bring it out, to make everybody around you able to use it and the possibility of changing the world with it. And I think that's exactly what Africa needs right now. Entrepreneurship that will create jobs, that will teach people how to do. That's what is going to create that middle class that Africa is missing, in my opinion. That's what the entrepreneurship side of it is.
Okay. And how exactly do we do that? I know that, when you started the ACRC, it started from just an idea and you made it something that's very much alive and something that's tangible. How do we take kids and youth, wherever they may be, how do we take their ideas and make it tangible so they can contribute to an African middle class, or so that they can help their first generation or second generation, parents come out of poverty and elevate their social standing? How do we make their ideas tangible?
I think it's within them. It's that individual. I think it comes from here. When something is birthed in your heart, it's hard for it to let it go. So the ability to have, to wake up in the morning one day and say, oh wow, I have this idea, and you write it down, that's your first step. That's that mission. That day right there, that day you write down your vision and your mission and everything your dream is about, that should be like the best day of your life. To be able to, oh my God, I had this dream and I'm going to that moment right there is everything. And from that time on to when you actually step by step trying to build it up, and along the way hearing all the no's and it get tough and you want to give up, that moment right there is what counts. It reminds you of why you wanted to do this in the first place. So it's one of those things that you can't really, it's hard to say what's going to happen, but if you really, really actually dream about something and it comes from your heart, it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go. Okay.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the difficulties in starting the ACRC? I mean, I think a lot of people, they have these beautiful ideas and they want to start this initiative or that company and things like that. And the moment they hear the first no, that's it. They didn't think it was going to be as difficult as it was. So can you talk a little bit about how maybe difficult it was for you and how you just, went over those hurdles to make the ACRC what it is today?
I think the hurdles are still there today. What really, got me going was the idea of inspiring somebody. The idea of having somebody say, wow, he was able to actually do this. The idea of, making it that mom and dad can be proud. The idea of everybody that once upon a time wanted to do something that were not able to do it. That's what keeps me going every day. And I've heard, a lot of no's, or a lot of, maybe you're too young, or it's a very good idea, but you know.
Yeah.
And all of that kind of, you know, it pushes me to actually want to keep going, you know. And it's something that I think every entrepreneur have to actually understand is, you know, you have to build a character, and you have to believe in that character, and you have to develop this emotional stability. You know, as many no's as you're going to get, you have to be able to keep going. You have to find it in you to actually push and have a reason behind what you're doing, you know, because at the end of the day, as a person, all you really have is your name, and you want your name to be associated with, you know, a certain thing. So you want to protect it, you want to defend it, you want to, you know, groom it into in a way that everybody can enjoy it.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about the goal of the African Community Resource Center. Do you see it being a place where youth can gather after school, that it has different initiatives, if there are different compartments of the center that are doing different things? Talk to me a little bit about what will be inside of the center.
The center really is truly a world class, you know. Architecturally it is, you know, state of the art, and it's built in a way that, you know, I wanted people to actually want to leave their home to come to the African Community Resource Center, whether it's here in America or in, you know, Senegal, Africa, or Benin, Africa, or in Canada, or whatever country the African community is going to be in. I wanted, you know, the youth to actually leave their homes and come and have, you know, another youth to sit down with them and share their ideas, and to be able to say that this is what I'm working on. What do you think? You know, mom and dad, you know, need certain things that they cannot get from, you know, maybe a government center or something. You know, so there's a lot of different things that is in the center. I think for me, I would say the incubator will be one of my, you know, primary focus, to be able to actually incubate 400 kids or 400 entrepreneurs a year. That's my biggest goal.
Okay.
400 kids a year, I think, to me, will, you know, create that platform for us to be able to do some of the things that we want to do, you know, whether it's here or whether it's in Africa.
So I was at the gala last year, and it was very successful. It was very much a cultural space. There were people from all different ethnicities, backgrounds, countries, in fact. So can you tell me a little bit about what we can expect if we'll have another gala?
Absolutely. It's actually a collaboration between the African Community Resource Center and Give One Project. And yes, last year we wanted to, you know, give it more of a culture feel. You know, we wanted to actually stand for what we actually believe in, which is, you know, bringing African people together to celebrate and to enjoy and, you know, basically build life together. So that's the feel that we wanted. That's that thing we want to create. And I think this year will be, you know, just that. It will be very exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. We have a lot of, you know, special people coming, you know, from all over. And Give One Project is actually a global nonprofit organization that's in 27 countries. So we're looking at bringing, you know, 27 different representatives from all these different countries for this year's event.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so this year I hear that you have another event coming up. You're very active as a president and a founder. You're very hands-on. Can you tell me a little bit about these enrichment seminars that you have?
Yes, the YES seminars, actually the Young Entrepreneur Seminars, this year or the previous years, it's really just an empowerment section, you know, to really empower the young generation, you know, to really look at exactly what they're doing, you know, whether it's school, whether it's, you know, want to start a business. So we just want to empower each other, you know. So we bring, you know, different speakers to be able to, you know, our age, because I don't believe in so much of the older generation, you know, really giving us. I think as youth we can build on each other. So we bring people our age to be able to, you know, just inspire, because I think we are old enough at this age, you know, at 24, 25, 26, I think we have enough, you know, experience to be able to empower somebody that is 12, 15, and 16. And we've seen it all. At 26, you really start to kind of change your life around, and to be able to share that experience that you've had up to that point with a younger kid, I think it's incredible. I think that's the idea that we have to be able to kind of just build that bridge, build that bridge between what that transformation from a teenager to, say, an adult. That's what that event is.
Okay. And you also have an event coming up in August.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect? Maybe some speakers.
Yes. This year's event is actually tailored for entrepreneurs and philanthropists.
Okay.
I believe I'm an entrepreneur. I also believe I'm a philanthropist. More than anything else, I think I'm a leader. So this year I wanted to give, that experience that I have, throughout the years of this, working on this project, just kind of also bring along the many entrepreneurs in our community and the many philanthropists that, want to inspire and create change in Africa or wherever country. So we want to bring all of us together and just kind of motivate each other and build on each other and kind of encourage each other, if I should say.
Okay. And are you partnering with any organizations?
Yes, this year we actually collaborating with True Worshipers. True Worshipers, one of those organizations that's been around successfully for a long time. I think this is our 7th year actually in service, and we really want to kind of just come together and give a little bit of what the Christian side of or religion side of it, and also the reality side of what is really out there, kind of bring both of them together. And that's my background actually. Going to Liberty University, I had that religious background that always pushing me, and also have the exposure of the outside. So we want to kind of bring both of us together. A very good friend of mine, the president. So I'm really looking forward to this event.
Excellent. So you are headed in so many different directions. What is the single greatest piece of advice you would give to a young entrepreneur who wants to start something now?
That's a good question. I think for me personally right now is keep on dreaming. Keep on pushing. Just keep going. Because an entrepreneur, you have the ability to make so many mistakes, and nobody will ever know. So even if you have gotten it completely wrong, you just keep going as if you're getting it right. So just keep pushing, just keep going. Don't stop or don't look back. Just keep going.
So today we're seeing a lot of African youth going into the medical field because it's always in demand. It's a field that you will arguably always be employed in. But innovation is something that drives the world that we live in, whether you're in medicine or specifically technology. How do we get African youth to become inspired to be entrepreneurs?
That's a beautiful question. I think it has to start with them. It has to start, wanting to do something. Because I think our culture really doesn't, give us that entrepreneur itch. For most of the time, it's always, mom or dad actually pushing you into that direction.
Yeah.
Wanting you to become a doctor or a nurse. So you have, a generation where every African kid is heading that direction. But I don't think some of these kids actually want to be there. And as far as becoming, away or getting away from that mindset to be able to be an entrepreneur, I think they themselves have to, want to get away from it. Because it takes using your heart to want to inspire. And going to school to become a doctor or a nurse is really using your head. So they have to get away from, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna come out, and I'm gonna punch in. That's not inspiration to me. That's just being book smart and using your head. But if you really want to inspire, you have to actually, birth something, and groom it and build it up so that, and somebody else can pick it up and say, wow, this is amazing. So I think for the African kids, we really need to, collectively get away from that mindset, get away from it's too hard, get away from I can't do it, get away from you don't understand, this is how we are. This is not how we are. This is an individual thing. This is just between you and you. As much as I want to say, we as Africans don't have that background, I don't think it has to come to that. I think it's a matter of being, the captain of your own ship, being a leader. That's what it's about. You can't really say that I can't or that to me it really breaks my heart. If I should say that, it really breaks my heart.
Okay. And you said something that I can very much identify with. Growing up, parents always said, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a doctor. So for you specifically, before you started the ACRC, did you always know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, or did you get inspired to do this and that's sort of what pushed you into the entrepreneurship field?
I think I've always been an entrepreneur.
Okay.
As a kid, to be able to, have an idea to do it, going from wanting to be a barber at a very young age, as, wanting to do a clothing line at a very young age, and not even being an athlete. Being an athlete, you have the ability to, create like the exact person or the exact athlete that you want to be. So being an athlete, I think, gave me that, that toughness that I actually am using now. So, but I think that it had to be, if I should say, it had to be that idea that something was missing. I think that's what pushed me the most. Having the idea that something is missing and something needs to be done, and it might as well just be me that's gonna do it.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the naysayers when you were starting the ACRC. Talk to me about the people who supported you from day one, whether that was family, close friends that you have. Who really supported you when you were starting the ACRC, even at a time where it looked like it wasn't going to be a feasible project?
Wow, I think the majority of the people that I spoke with actually embraced that idea. A lot of the people, my roommate at the time, he's still, one of my, my big supporters. And then as I went on, I was also able to put the right people around me, knowing exactly the kind of person I want to be, And I think my biggest fear was, convincing my parents that I'm not going to get a job. I'm not going to get a 9-to-5 because I had just graduated from college. I think I only worked for about 3 months and I walked away. So I think more than anything, I had to, kind of convince them, that I can do this and I will do this. So I had no room for failure. My mentors, the people that have really taken me in, as much as, it gets really hard. And sometimes, I want to, kind of give up. But I have these people around me that I think God intentionally put them around me to be able to I don't know the word to use, but these people that I've met along the way have really kept me going. And I think more than anything, I owe it to them to make it happen. My project manager, she would be that one person. And I have a lot of mentors, but I think she is one of my biggest motivation to actually put this project up.
And I think that's very important. I'm sure that there are a lot of youth who are trying to start this initiative or that initiative, and they don't have the right people around them to give them the courage, to give them access to resources. And that's exactly what the ACRC does. It allows you to surround yourself with people who are entrepreneurs just like yourself, and people who are also working day in and day out past the 9 to 5 to make sure that their goal to build this company or this firm comes to fruition.
Absolutely. I think more than anything, I had to do that. I had to surround myself, with the right people. I had to, make certain decisions that will kind of, get me to where I see myself being. So every decision that I made, whether it's, cutting time away from spending with friends, or whether it's cutting some friends out, so it's a lot that you have to actually do. That's part of creating the character that I spoke about. So you may not fit everybody in that circle,
right?
And your vision will attract the right people as you go along. And that's what I want this project to be.
So we know that the ACRC is primarily geared towards youth, but talk to me about some of the centers and the priority areas inside of the center and who those sort of cater to specifically.
I would say the resource center. The resource center is really a general library, full of resources for any and everybody to be able to be equipped to give them that that leverage that they need. So for me, the resource center, and also the museum that will display what Africa really is. The African culture, the African heritage. I think that's one of my favorite rooms. Also, I think maybe the classrooms, or the way the classrooms are set. I think the classrooms is geared, mainly designed for entrepreneurs. That's also a place that I really enjoy designing in my office.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of the programs really mainly want to focus on the entrepreneur side of it. And not to say just for you, but there's a lot that's going on in that building that will give mom and dad something to do. We have so much we have a space for rental that people can actually use for their everyday events. You have your birthdays, you have your funerals, which is huge in our culture, in our community, and just celebrations, weddings, now restaurant. We have a restaurant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that there were so many different departments. So
Absolutely.
That's great to hear that it caters to a variety of different people and needs as well.
Absolutely.